Dear students, today we'll see the poem in fourth unit Ulysses by Alfred Tennyson. Alfred Tennyson was born on August 6, 1809 in England. He is one of the most well-loved Victorian poets. He is a laureate of Great Britain and Ireland during much of Queen Victoria's reign and remains one of the most popular British poets. At the age of 12, he wrote a 6,000-line epic poem. His father tutored him in the classical and modern languages. In 1830, Tennyson published poem chiefly lyrical, and in 1832 he published a second volume entitled Simply Poems. In 1850, with the publication of In Memoriam, Tennyson became one of Britain's most popular poets, and so he was selected Poet Laureate of Great Britain in succession to Wordsworth. After Wordsworth, he becomes Poet Laureate. At the age of 41, Tennyson had established himself as the most popular poet of the Victorian era. In 1884, he accepted a peerage, becoming Alfred Lord Tennyson. He died on October 6, 1892 and was buried in Westminster Abbey, England. We'll see the introduction of this poem. Ulysses, the king of Ithaca, speaks of the unquenchable thirst of the Greek hero Ulysses for travel and exploration of a new vistas until death would overpower them. The poem Ulysses is a dramatic monologue. Ulysses, the king of Ithaca, had returned to his kingdom after 20 years of Trojan War. He has wandered different strange and unknown places and seen many countries, lands and woods. At last, he has returned to his house with full of experiences. Still speaking to himself, he proclaims that he cannot rest from travel, but he feels compelled to live to the fullest and swallow every last drop of life. He has enjoyed all his experience as a sailor who travels the seas and considers himself a symbol for everyone who wanders and roams the earth. He declares that it is boring to stay in one place, and that to remain stationary is to rust rather than to shine. So he wants to wander always. His son Telemachus is the second part. Ulysses handing over the responsibility to his son Telemachus with total confidence in his abilities. His son Telemachus is good enough for task of governing the savage people of his land and making them civilized. He possesses patience and the will to civilize them. Ulysses is happy that his son would do his work blamelessly. He won't follow his search for travel and knowledge. So he can be free. Ulysses, then third part comes. Ulysses' clarion called to his sailors, urging them to venture into unknown lands like Happy Isle and all. Ulysses asked his companions to gather at the port where the ship is ready to sail. His companions have faced, his companions has uh, faced both sunshine and thunder with a smile. They are united by their undying spirit of adventure. They are also enthusiastic. Though death would end everything, Ulysses urges his companions to join him and sail beyond the sunset and seek a newer world regardless of consequences. These brave hearts had once moved heaven and earth. They have now grown old and weak physically, but the spirit is young and energetic. So he insists us to seek adventure, true knowledge, and strive to live meaningful life. This is the summary of this poem. Now we'll see. We'll see the poem line by line. In it little profits that an idle king by this still hath among these barren crags matched with an aged wife, I meet and dole unequal loss unto a savage race. The king Ulysses is telling us that a king gains nothing from just sitting around by the fire, by the fire with his wife, that too an aged wife, and making laws for people who don't even know him. The phrase "it little profits." It little profits is another way of saying it is useless. Or it is not beneficial. See, don't want to sit in the throne. Meet means to allot, to give, or measure out. Here it refers to the king allotment of rewards and punishments to his subjects. Awards, dole, benefit, or awards or punishments to his subjects. Unequal. Here unequal doesn't mean that the rewards and punishment are unjust or unfair, but rather variable. That hoard means supply. Then match doesn't refer to a tennis match or other sporting event. It means something like paired or partnered with. Matched, partnered with. Ulysses' subjects are presented to us a large group of drones who do nothing but eat and sleep. It does not make any use or purpose when a king idles away his time near the fireplace with his old wife, making unequal laws for the uncultured people. He hates his people. The next stanza, the first stanza is an imagery. It's showing the imagery. It's imagery. Then that hoard and sleep and feed and know not me. I cannot rest from travel. I will drink life to the lees. All times I have enjoyed greatly, have suffered greatly, both with those. After his moralistic opening, Ulysses tells us more about why sitting around doling out rewards and punishments bores him. The first stanza, he is doling rewards and punishments, but it bores him. We learn that he is a restless spirit who doesn't want to take a break from roaming the ocean in search of adventure. He will not let life pass him by. The word less, the word less originally the word less originally referred to the sediment accumulated at the bottom of a bottle of wine. To drink life to the less means to drink to the every drop, every very last drop. Nowadays we might say something like live life to the fullest. So he wants to live his life the fullest. He don't want to waste the life. Ulysses tells us that he has a lot of good times and a lot of bad times. Sometimes with his best friends and sometimes alone, both on dry land and while sailing through the sea with the destructive storms. Scudding drifts are pounding showers of rain that one might encounter at sea during a storm. Here is a group of stars. Here is a group of stars in the constellation Taurus, often associated with rain. The Hyades is a group of stars associated with rain. The rising in the sky generally coincides with the rainy season. Here they are presented as agitators of the ocean. Vexed means upset. Vexed, the dim sea. I am become a name for always roaming with hungry heart. Much have I seen and known cities of men and manners, climates, councils, governments, myself not least, but honored of them all, and drunk delight of battle with my peers, for on the ringing plains of windy Troy, I am a part of all that I have met. Ulysses elaborates on the good times and the bad times he heard enjoyed during his travels. The phrase I am become a name means something like become a household name. Ulysses has become famous because he has traveled to so many places. Ulysses tells us that he has visited a variety of different places with different manners, different weather, different governments, etc. He portrays himself as a traveler with an insatiable desire to see as many places he can, etc. The phrase myself not least, but honored of them all means something like I wasn't treated like the least little thing, but was honored by everybody. I met. Ulysses also describes the time he spent on the ringing plains of windy Troy, the famous city where the Trojan War took place. Here only the Trojan War took place. The plains and ringing because of the armor clashing together in battle. So the plains are ringing because of the armor clashing together in the battle. I am a part of all that I have met. this is a strange phrase, no? All the places I have seen are now a part of me. The phrase suggests that Ulysses left parts of himself everywhere he went. This sounds like another way of saying I don't belong here to Ithaca. I am not the king of this Ithaca because I belong to many places. Yet all experience is an archvatro gleams that untraveled world whose margin fades. Forever and forever when I move, how dull it is to pause, to make an end, to rust unburnished, not to shine in use, as though to breathe were life, life piled on life. Ulysses further justifies his desire to keep traveling, all living a life of adventure. He compares his life to an arch and describes the untraveled world as a place that gleams at him through the arch, gleams shining, shines at him through the arch. All he has to do is walk through the arch. The first two lines of this stanza are very tricky. One way to read untraveled world is a reference to death. It's always looking at him through the arch of his experiences, but somehow seems to recede as he keeps moving because margin fades. We can also think of the unraveled world as an arch. As Ulysses moves, his experience makes an arch covering the arch of the unraveled world. The more he travels, the more the margins or edges of the world recedes or covered up. Ulysses tells how boring it is just sitting around when he could be out exploring the world. He likens himself to some kind of metallic instruments that is still perfectly useful and shiny, but just rusts if nobody uses it. To rust and burn is to let go waste without being used. So he thinks he compares himself to a metallic instrument, and he is saying that is still perfectly useful and shiny, but just rusts if nobody uses it. For Ulysses, life is about more than just breathing. It's about adventure, as though to breathe were life, life piled on life. Life is about more than just breathing. It is about adventure. Were all too little and of one to me, little remains, but every hour is saved from that eternal silence, something more, a bringer of new things, and while it were. For some 3 suns to store and hoard myself, and this grey spirit yawning in desire to follow knowledge like a sinking star beyond the utmost bound of human thought. Ulysses continued to radiate a desire for adventure, claiming that even multiple lifetimes wouldn't be enough for him to do all the things he wants. At this point, though he is an old man, a grey spirit Near the end of his life, he wants to make the most of what's left. It's waste of time for him to hang out in Ithaca for 3 years when his desire for adventure is still so alive. So, here he is an old man, a grey spirit. The grey spirit shows he is an old man, and he wants to make the most of what's left. It's a waste of time for him to hang out in Ithaca for 3 years when his desire for adventure is so alive, so still so alive. But every house is saved. This phrase, but every house is saved from that eternal silence, something more, a bringer of new things. A bringer of new things. It means something like each additional hour that I live, or each hour that I am saved from death, brings me new experiences. And he wants to bring new things also. 3 sun doesn't mean 3 days, but rather 3 years. Not 3 days, 3 years. 3 years. The phrase follow knowledge like a sinking star. Follow knowledge like a sinking star is ambiguous. On one hand, Ulysses wants to chase after knowledge and try to catch it as sinks like a star. On the other hand, Ulysses himself could be the sinking star. That makes sense too. He is a great personality who is moving closer to death. He is always remembering and reminding the same. He is old. He is nearing death. So this is the first part of this poem. We'll see the second and third part in next class. Okay, you read this poem and go through it. It will be easy for you. If you like this class, give a like and share to your friends and subscribe my channel. Okay, thank you.